All right, folks, today we have The Warning. The song title is Money. This is an original. Before we get into this, I want to take a minute to remember Mark Zeitlin. Mark was a big supporter of the channel, a huge fan of The Warning, and I recently received the news that sadly Mark has passed away. So I want to dedicate this episode to him. And for those watching who are the praying type, I'd encourage you to remember his friends and family in your prayers during this time. All right, let's do it.
Hey, whoa, I don't wanna break this down to you.
Okay, yeah.
It's a cruel thing that we learn to do. 'Cause we all gotta pay for something, we all gotta kill for nothing. Happiness has its price. Less is the norm in this business. Rapacity will be the illness that we will learn to love. Are you worth your weight in gold? Going once, going twice, sold. It's all about that cold hard cash, hun.
Okay.
Go ahead and cry, shallow pools.
All right, stop it right there. Yeah, so I've said this before in Warning Reactions. I'm not a huge hard rock guy, and this is kind of, for me, borderline, like a little bit too hard for me. I'm more of a soft rock guy, but really good melody. Vocals sound great. I see that it's a live video, but it sounds like a studio track, so I don't know if they have overdubbed the studio track onto the live performance, or this actually is the live audio and it just has been mixed in a certain way to sound studio. I'm not sure. Somebody, I'm sure, can let me know in the comments. But yeah, they're sounding great. Let's take a look at the lyrics here. We got the first verse here. I don't want to break this down to you. It's a cruel thing that we learn to do because we all got to pay for something. That's true. We all got to pay for something. We all gotta kill for nothing. That's an interesting line. I don't necessarily agree with that we all must kill for nothing. It's a requirement. And maybe she's talking about in the music industry, like that's what you're expected to do in order to have success. I don't know. Of course, it's a metaphor. She doesn't mean actually killing. Happiness has its price. Less isn't more in this business. Okay, yeah, it sounds like she's specifically talking about the music industry. Rapacity will be the illness. That's a good line. That's a good line. That we will learn to love. Interesting. So that's something that once you're in this industry, in this business, and you do it over and over again, eventually you'll learn to love it, and that'll be part of your habits. Are you worth your weight in gold? Again, this sounds like we're talking to the music industry. Is this like the things you have to do to earn money? Going once, going twice, sold. Obviously, that's the auctioneer call out. It's all about that cold, hard cash, hun. This sounds like a scathing indictment of greed and materialism, specifically in the music industry. And I am all for that. The scathing indictment part, not the greed materialism. Probably the thing that I've loved most about The Warning is the songwriting, the lyrics. They are really, really strong. They're more than just a surface level. They're certainly not any catchy, poppy, bubblegum, saccharine lyrics. There's some meat in there. The lyrics are often metaphorical, and they're dealing with important themes. Really, really digging it. Let's get back to it.
Blood, diamond, noose at your throat.
Diamond noose at your throat. That's a good line.
Moral code updates 3 times a year.
Moral code updates. That's good. I'll talk about that in a minute.
That slipped in gold just last year. I'll never ask for forgiveness. I come with God as my witness.
Interesting. I'll never ask for forgiveness.
Wash my hands.
Mmm.
It's sad and it's true when the world hurts. Sold your soul, that's how it works. We're human after all.
It's interesting because that's obviously the chorus. I thought earlier when I stopped it, that was like a pre-chorus, because that's the way musically it seems more structured. Or is that the chorus? The diamond noose on your throat. Interesting. Had a little issue with my audio. I had to stop and restart here. The diamond noose at your throat. I can't wait to talk about that line. That's a great line. Yeah. Also, I could tell as I went along here, listening close to the audio, that was the studio track, because it sounded like they had multiple guitars going, as opposed on stage, she only had one in the bass. Anyway, Danny sounded great. Ale on the bass, of course, excellent. Powell on kit. They're an incredible trio. Again, for me, it's getting a little bit in the too hard for my taste era, but it's still where I can listen to it. But once again, the lyrics are just absolutely stellar. Go ahead and cry shallow pools of blood. Shallow pools of blood. So it's almost like an indictment of fake sorrow. People that are caught up in this materialism, in this greed, and selling themselves out for the money, they're crying blood, which is like, to me, it sounds like a metaphor of being sorrowful, but maybe it's even just the reason it's blood is because they're intentionally trying to put on a show like they regret it, but their pools of blood are shallow, which sounds like it's not real. Or maybe if it is real, they can only go to a certain point because they're still doing the thing to make the money. So their sorrow rings hollow. Diamond noose at your throat. Diamond, that represents all of this materialism, the worldly goods, the flash, the expensive living. But a diamond noose, well, a noose around your neck, that's how you get hanged. So ultimately, these things are strangling you. They're going to hang you, and if they hang you, you're dead. That's what I get. Moral code updates 3 times a year. That is one of probably the most genius lyric I've seen that's using a modern concept as a metaphor, because a lot of times whenever I hear modern concepts used in songs, it kind of rings hollow because it feels like, well, is anybody even going to know what this means in 10, 15 years? And I'm thinking with computer technology being what it is, people will know what this means, but also it's really, really clever. Code updates, talking about computing, talking about your software updates. We all get them on our phones all the time, but a moral code, if it's actually moral, should be immutable. So the moral code updates, it's saying, well, your morality is constantly changing with whatever it needs to for you to get what you want, or for you to continue to make that money, that cold hard cash is talking about in the song. Truth that's dipped in gold is just as sincere. Interesting. Truth that's dipped in gold is just as sincere. Truth is truth, even if it's packaged in a glitzy, glittery way, or is this more sarcasm? If you're dressing up the truth, maybe it ceases to be the truth. I'll never ask for forgiveness. That's representative of some kind of hard-heartedness. The singer of this song knows that selling out and being materialistic, being greedy is not good, but they're not going to ask for forgiveness. I come with God as my witness. Interesting that it talks about not asking for forgiveness which in Christianity, that's a big deal. It's a big concept. And then it immediately mentions God. Sounds to me like both of those lines kind of speak to some religious metaphor here. I pray he'll wash my hands. Interesting, because that almost sounds like the singer is asking for forgiveness, asking God to give them clean hands. I mean, what else, unless they're trying to make a distinction between a clean hand and a clean heart? I'm not 100% sure there, but it definitely gives you something to think about. Another stack of sins to be buried in. Again, the term sin, you get this religious overtone, this religious imagery here. Really, really good lyrics. Again, I feel like it's an indictment of materialism, greed. The first part of the song sounds like it's specifically talking about the music industry, the entertainment industry. It gets to me a little more generic as it goes along. It could be applied to any industry. The crying shallow pools of blood, what does that mean? What does that look like? Is it talking about faux sorrow or sorrow that doesn't go far enough? The diamond noose around your neck, all of these riches ultimately being the thing that kills you. It's the way I read this anyway. The moral code updates that people are always shifting their morality to continue in this business. And then I'm not going to ask for forgiveness. I have God as my witness. I'll pray he'll wash my hands. I'm not going to ask forgiveness, but I'm praying God will wash my hands. So what are you praying for then? If that's not asking for forgiveness, are you praying that he'll take away the consequences without you asking forgiveness for the sin that she brings up toward the end of the song? I think this is genius. Great songwriting, great performance from top to bottom. Hope you enjoyed that clip. If you did, consider supporting us on Patreon. Subscribe to YouTube if you hadn't already, and we'll see you soon.